Okay, I know it's very, very early for another video. I just posted one yesterday, so bear with me. There's a reason. So I posted the video to one of my favorite chat groups, and I got some great responses. But specifically, one individual said that they noticed, not on the plants we were working directly with, but the acorn squash, the table acorn queen squash that's right next to the cucumber that we worked with, that you can see here in the background. That plant, they said, looked like it had droopy leaves. Now, I'm not 100% sure if that's the one they were specifically referring to or not, so I wanted to go through and do a quick examination of all the plants, to see if anybody spots anything else that I need brought to my attention. But the other thing was that I wanted to kind of explain what some of the obvious stuff that I know is going on, so that y'all can kind of see how those plants recover and how they pull through and what we did about different issues. But finally, because they mentioned that what they thought they were seeing was something called, they called them stalk borer bugs, but I actually looked it up. They're called squash vine borers. Now, squash vine borers is actually a moth that's attracted to yellow flowers, so anything with a big yellow flower is very susceptible to them. They lay their eggs one at a time, just one egg here, one over there, one over there, so they can spread a lot of eggs out a long ways. And really infest the garden. Now, when they first mentioned it, I wasn't sure what they were talking about because of the word they used, but when I looked it up, I was like, oh yeah, I know what these are. They can be treated a couple of different ways, and there's some different signs that you want to look for. So we're going to actively go look for those signs on the squash plants. Acorn squash is one of the plants that's listed as exceptionally susceptible to them. Butternut squash is not susceptible, but there are other squash like yellow straight neck, zucchini, things like that. We definitely need to check those for these. And the other reason, even if I don't find any, that's okay, because June and July are the 2 months that they're most active. It's usually a little bit later in the year that they're active, but it's a good idea to go ahead and start treating for them right now. And that's one reason I decided to go ahead and do this video, is because I want y'all to see what you need to look out for, know what they are, and how they reproduce, and really talk about that and how you can prevent them, and how you can treat them if you catch them early enough. If you don't catch them early enough, they will usually spread the eggs. They attach to the stalk, and then they hatch, and the larvae bore into the stalk vine. That's why, hence the name squash borer, stalk borer. And then they develop inside the stalk, then they hatch. They can be kind of devastating to a garden. Now, there's also some things you can do to kind of detect them. So we're going to go over several different things. We're going to kind of do a scatter treatment for them, just to make sure that we don't develop a problem if we don't have one, and maybe treat them a little bit if we do. And we're going to check all of our squash and our zucchini included. So that's one. Let's see, pippin, acorn, yellow straight neck, and zucchini. The zucchini is still very young, but that's when they get them. All right, let's look at some plants. So here we are at our table acorn queen squash, and we're going to get really close. And there's a couple things, like this is my fault right there, that bend, that is my fault. This is my fault. I did that. I recognize the damage. But we're going to get at the base. See, that's more flower blossom rot right there. We're going to come in and cut that out. But we're going to get down at the base, and we're going to try to see if we can see any little bitty holes. And inside those holes is something called frass. And what frass is this stuff that the moth makes to kind of seal off the end. Right there. That is just a little sprout coming up. So far I'm not seeing any. These actually look bug free, and if you look at the plant, the first symptom that you'll usually see is wilting of the leaves, which means the leaves will be kind of droopy, they'll bend down. Okay, so when I took the video, we were on day 3, and I took it before the watering system went on, so they were about as dry as they'll get. So the wilting she saw may not have been these boring creatures. They may have actually just simply been the fact that it was ready for water. We already treated with some diatomaceous earth when we first put the soil together, but we're going to redust them, because if any weevil moths dare land on our plant. See, I'm not seeing any holes in anything. I don't like that laying on the ground like that. We may call that out just to get it off the ground. Because, yeah, we're going to treat again with the neem oil, because that will also kill these weevil larvae. Yeah, I'm not seeing any holes. It look like weevil holes. The plant itself isn't droopy anymore. And I don't see any little moths. I am seeing some little bees, which is good to see. A lot of people have had problems. These little bitty bees, don't estimate them. Not only do they pack a sting to them, but they are great pollinators. They can get into little flowers like tomatoes and bell peppers and just do wonderful. Yeah, another thing, marigolds do deter this moth that causes this problem. So marigolds, plant those with your squash. Marigolds are pretty much good to plant with anything. We've got lots of flowers, lots of little babies coming up. I don't think we have an infestation, not of the weevils. We do have aphids, and we're treating that with neem oil. And we're going to do some preventative treatment because of what time of year it is. So June and July, most active for these moths. So we're going to do a preventative treatment. That's every 2 weeks. We're going to spray the plant with the neem oil, which I need to do right now anyway to kill off the little bit of aphids that have worked their way in. And we've got our marigold planted in there. That's a good deterrent. And another thing, we're going to take some diatomaceous earth, and we are going to sprinkle that all over the ground around the base of the plant. You notice the water I've got. This water is going to be, I'm just going to pour it in a yellow bowl. Now the moths are attracted to the color yellow. So you take a yellow bowl full of water, and the moths are attracted to the yellow, and they end up caught in the yellow bowl and drown. So we're going to kill moths. We're going to plant this, we're going to put this right here. This looks like a good spot right here, away from the plant. Remember, the idea is to attract the moths to it and away from the plant, and drown them in the process so they don't find the plant. Probably just end up giving a bunch of moths water. But the neem oil and the diatomaceous earth should do the rest that the water doesn't, and that the marigold doesn't. And then while we're over here, we're going to go ahead and respray our poor cucumber. I do see less of the little aphid buggers, but yeah. All right, these have also perked up. I can see a lot of caterpillar damage right in there. That's caterpillar damage. Nothing really looks droopy. Now these are tomato plants. This is not a poblano pepper, ignore that. What this is a little Cherokee purple, and I need to go through and do some pruning on it, cut off some dead stuff and give it a little bit better chance. But this was actually a cutoff. So my mom took her Cherokee Purple and she cut a branch or two off. The wonderful thing about tomato plants, notice the fuzzies on the stalk right in there. Along there you can kind of see the little hairs. Every one of those little hairs can potentially become a root. So all you gotta do is put it in water. You could take the stalk, you cut it off, you put it in water until roots develop. And once roots develop, you can actually go ahead and plant it in the ground. Now when you do that, obviously it kind of puts the plant in a little bit of a state of shock. So sometimes you have to go through, I don't like how this is going down to the ground anyway, so I'm probably gonna cut this off right there. And then we'll come over here and take off, I think I'm gonna cut it off right there and then just take this one leaf off like right in there. And we're gonna tidy that up. But the reason it is having struggles right now is because of how it was birthed into the world. It's a clone of a Cherokee Purple. So that's why that's like that. And kind of same thing over here. These here, this was actually a transplant from a different area that I moved into that area. Kind of same thing here. I'm thinking take this one off and this one here off and leave the rest of this. I'd like to see this straighten up more, so I may come in here and stick a pole in here and lift that more. This one looks pretty good. I could actually take this whole thing off right here. It's not doing anything. The rest looks great on its own. Over here, I'm gonna take, these are our yellow pear. And see, I've got these two close, but they seem to really like each other, so I tied them together up here. This left one's on a pole, but I think I wanna go ahead and put another pole in there for that other side. I didn't prune it to pull one out because I actually thought it was the same plant. But nope. It's a good thing about gardening. It will surprise you. Something munched on that magnolia. We're gonna take some bottom branches off these. We've got all these babies here. I'm about to go through and pull like this one here and probably this one. In fact, I might go ahead and pull both of these and just leave that one. Because you see they get big and bushy. So I think it can handle 3 in the back and 1 up front. Something already pulled that one up for me. I may have actually done that. Over here, and see how our squash looks since being tormented yesterday. These are all beans. They look pretty good. Some caterpillar damage, cricket, grasshopper damage. Looky, that's probably the culprit right there. Are you the fuzzy little one who's been eating my beans? Probably. He's too cute. I'm a little scared of fuzzy caterpillars. I'm pretty sure that those fuzzies could potentially be dangerous, so I just leave them alone. Spray my plants, try to keep them off. Look, they look so much better. These look so much better. Oh my gosh, we're getting some color back into this one here. This is still, but it's like not spread any. This is great. So in another 2 days, we are going to come back and spray it again. This is damage from something else right there. That looks like much damage. Yeah, I think we can come back and spray this again with the baking soda mixture in 2 more days. I'm gonna get all of this cleaned up and out of here. And these, I think, are gonna recover nicely. So being a great gardener sometimes is not a matter of doing everything perfect and nothing ever going wrong. Sometimes being a decent gardener is a matter of being able to spot issues, identify them quickly, and deal with them before they become a problem. So this is our zucchini down here. We've got 3 tubs of those, and they're gonna eventually take off like those yellow squash did. And when they do, they're gonna be just as crowded. So we're gonna be careful here. Looks like we've got some aphids I'm going to spray these with neem oil and baking soda. I mean, not baking soda, I'm sorry. With neem oil and with sprinkle the diatomaceous earth on the ground. That will prevent the moths and kill off borer weevil larvae if necessary. Looks really good. Looks so good. Tomatoes look great. Yep. More pruning and trimming today. More spraying. Bowl of water. DE. And maybe I'll have enough energy to go weed in the pumpkin garden. I hate weeding. My least favorite job. Well, I had to take a break. I've got all of the vines and stuff that were on the ground cut out, and I've gotten the neem oil back on and the diatomaceous on the ground. So I just needed a moment. I've still got to put some stakes in the ground, and it got me thinking while I was sitting here taking a break. This video was actually inspired, as I mentioned at the beginning, by a comment that somebody posted, and that is wonderful. I love the fact that I'm getting so much feedback. It's really helping me grow. I'm learning a lot. I'm refreshing old knowledge that I've read about and getting a chance to like actively put it in practice in a lot of ways. But it reminds me of some of the other comments I've gotten, and I wanted to touch base on those real quick while I'm sitting here taking a break. And you'll notice that if you watch some of my earliest videos about the garden, we were using a sprayer sprinkler system, and I talked about how we hadn't got our final watering system into place yet, and I wanted to take a moment to show that off today. So let me show you what we've got. So this is a timer shut on, shut off valve system. So we have run an underwater line along the fence here all the way down, and that goes down where Carl's sitting at, kind of squatted down getting some of the weeds out, and you can kind of see the hose where it comes up out of the faucet, and then it just dives under the ground and follows all along the fence where these logs are and runs into this pipe. And then that pipe runs up and supplies all 4 of these. And they're on a timer. You can actually set these to turn on as many days as you like how often. You can set them to go as long as you would like them to do. That's the how long. You can set them what time of the day you want them to start. And you can obviously adjust your time and turn it off altogether. And then you put it on auto and it just goes. If you want to like not have it go because it rains, you can just hit the press the plus button and it shuts the system off, and then manual turns it on and it runs for about 10 minutes. So we've got 3 of these set up for these 3 rows, so 1 per row. And then we've got the 4th one set up on these soaker hoses. And these soaker hoses run down this tub row, and they also have a split that runs over and into the beets, which you can kind of see down there. And I'm not going to walk that far, but also those are okra, beautiful bright tall okra in the back and up close just behind the bags. I guess I can walk a little ways. Those are broccoli and cauliflower, and then down there, that's what I'm weeding. That's our pumpkins. We've got actually some beautiful, big, if I can find the pumpkin garden in, there it is. Pumpkins growing up in there, and I've just got to get the grass out of there. So all of that is on those soaker hoses. So I've got that running. Each of these is running every 3 days. We had also gotten a comment about if we didn't get some shade over our plants, they would cook. And you were absolutely right, commenter. So I did I had mentioned in the comments of that in response that we did have some planned. We just hadn't got it up yet. Well, we've gotten that up in this area. we have plans to extend it out further. But honestly, I'm not too worried about it extending out further. Beans are one of those wonderful fruit that absolutely love sun. They can handle as much sun as you can give them. I am a bit worried about my zucchini and my yellow straight neck. All of our delicate plants, our tomatoes, our bell peppers, our other types of peppers, those are all in our spinach. Those are all in here, and you'll notice that the cabbage and cauliflower that I talked about in the other garden is actually under a shade tree as well, so they're getting plenty of shade. And then our beets, which have tender little green leaves, are also getting plenty of shade. So those are the 3 main comments I've gotten so far, that we need to put shade cloth up and that we need to fix our watering system so that it is not spraying water on the leaves. And the reason for not spraying water on the leaves is really simple. It transfers disease and bacteria and fungus and mold and can cause blight. So we've actually got 2 different kinds. We've got some that will spray out in like a little circular fountain, and then we have others that actually stick in the ground and water directly into the ground and don't go spray out at all. The chickens love this area. I'm constantly having to come back and poke them back into the ground. When I first came out here, I wish I'd caught it on video for y'all, but when I first came out here, the chickens were actually running through my spinach. But you'll notice they're not getting the spinach. They are not the ones eating the spinach. It's they're after the bugs that are on the spinach, and they actually step around the spinach and other plants when they run through. They really do try to avoid stepping on the plants themselves. They're after the bugs. So it's all been sprayed with neem oil. We've got diatomaceous earth on the ground around them. We did that with all our squash. And I went ahead and did it with the next plant over, which is the cucumber, which we also doused in neem oil again. So I'm just going to stake up a couple plants and then get to that pumpkin weeding. So yeah, we take your comments very, very seriously, whether you post them here on YouTube, which does help my channel out a lot. Posting on YouTube and commenting gives us interaction. It actually raises us on the browser list so that other people see the videos without them necessarily being directly shared. So it's very important that you do comment, preferably on YouTube, but I don't mind if you comment on other platforms that I've shared this video on. I really love hearing back from you, and sometimes it's good to know where the comments are coming from, so that's always nice. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. Be sure to give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Give me a thumbs down if you don't like the video. I need to know if I'm screwing up. Those are my report cards, I guess you could say. But at the same time, if you do give me a thumbs down, I would really appreciate it if you'd give me like just a quick comment letting me know why you gave me a thumbs down. I mean, it can be one word, boring. It helps me grow. It helps me learn. Whatever you need to say that's on your heart. If you think the video is great, entertaining, whatever, give me a thumbs up. Post your comments wherever you need to. Just keep in mind, it does help me if you post them on YouTube. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell if you haven't, so that you can get other videos, future posts. I'm going to post another video very soon, probably in another week or so, showing about the aphids and if the plants have perked up from the blight, and if we're still struggling with that blossom end rot. So yeah, that's everything. Again, hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for joining me, y'all.